Make the motion to approve.
Jason makes the motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by John, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Everybody had a chance to look through the bills? Very question, Tony? If not,
Just wondering on the Smitty's transmission for the truck, is that just the water truck that you take out to the water treatment?
that was the bottom one.
That was the one we made a little bit, yes. So that's what, stuff that's going on.
Who's divided it?
That's what it's used for.
That one, this one does?
This one,
I'm still getting used to like the split of the bills. Let's see here, 57441 if that helps, for the payable number.
We're getting there. See what? There we go. Yep, it was split.
Okay.
There you go. Split between water, sewer, electric, and streets. There you go.
Thank you. I'll make the motion to approve the bills.
Is there a second? He's got to be different words.
That's actually low.
Lighting transmission.
Need to jack up.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jason. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Has everybody had a chance to look at the delinquent bill list?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Properly moved and seconded by Jason and Nicole. John?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Anybody like to address the commission tonight? Commissioners' reports, we'll start with John.
It's the one time we can let you know. Otherwise, it's just forget you over here.
I don't have anything.
I actually have a couple things tonight. Job applicants, so the job applicant that we chose was not willing to relocate to Hillsboro. So, thoughts on, I guess we've spent about $1,500 in looking for someone. Are we okay with searching for candidates again, or thoughts and theories on that moving forward? The other applicants were out of state, and so we went by who we thought would be more relatable to the job and for what they do. So, are you guys okay with us putting it back out for the 30 days?
I think
Thoughts?
I think one of the concerns about keeping advertising local is the position that we're advertising for does have qualifications in it that, I mean, Zach and Jim were probably the only ones that have the qualifications. So I don't think it's a position that we're gonna fill from somebody just within the Hillsboro area.
I agree, probably.
There's another one that works for another RG. Yeah, as far as finding somebody
one question was from the out-of-state ones were, would we pay to relocate? And that was like one of the main concerns that they had for ones that were qualified. And so we've never done that before, but I don't think so either. So, that kind of narrows it down to, around here, but I also realized too, we probably didn't place in the position description either that said, willing to relocate or be within, 15 minutes or whatever it is.
I think the big question is how far are we willing to let somebody live? If we do let them live, what's that taking? How far? What's the cutoff? I think we're really limiting ourselves, saying, I get the you want to have somebody down. We're really limiting our options at that point. Just with local candidates.
I think 15 minutes is acceptable, because it gives you, I think the best, a half hour to be, and kind of get a call at the end, so it's kind of hard to, we had one on by Caledonia, they were able to get in there.
Okay.
Even Mayville, I mean, it's, you let Roy do that for a while, so.
And then Roy moved here, I take it? Okay. That might, I don't know.
My concern would be, we got a lot of people local now, but 5, 10, 20 years down the road, are we gonna end up with 3/4 of our staff living out of town? And then we have a snowstorm?
Right.
That would be, we don't have that issue now, one person is gonna kill us, we got enough people, but we start getting,
The other hand, you might run into a scenario where you can't find
right,
local,
right?
you have to figure out. You hope it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it both ways. I think, past that 15-minute mark might open a little box there, but then again, in the future, thinking, you're gonna find people more locally, but, I know I talked with Zach, a few of my concerns being that far out too, just because it is, I don't want it to weigh on the staff at some point, that they would pick up that work.
That's my concern too, is that if somebody else has to pick up, even though it's supposed to be spread out.
Yeah.
Well, let's say they're coming out of Grand Forks or Park when the interstate shut, are you still expecting them to respond?
Or how the on-call even work.
Exactly.
So I don't know if we should update that description to just say, within a 15-minute, must be located at least within 15 minutes or closer to Hillsboro, or is there anything of wording you guys would like to see?
Zach and I had looked in the handbook just to see if there was a set policy, and there's not. It's an unofficial policy currently. There's nothing in our handbook.
You set miles of town, or do you set a time saying we need to be here 30 minutes? Wherever.
I think like hospitals, it's within 15 minutes. It's a time, not a mileage. I think if I remember correctly.
Or 30, but 15 miles gives you time to get ready to get. Grand Forks and Park will just, get in that. I know it's not in the handbook, but it's kind of an official policy as long as I've been on and log before that too. I think before the information state, we start being a little bit more living outside.
Okay.
Or how long are you willing to wait to do this? If you don't get anybody in another month, how about if a good qualified person comes along, you wait. I don't want to drag it on and on and on because we
Right.
can't find anybody either. But how long are we willing to wait? How long are you willing to wait?
We need time to get some training before
Yeah.
April. It's gonna be a busy.
potential second that was willing to relocate here. Mine was on, Zach, are you 100% on this or not 100%? So, it just wasn't 100% all the way here.
Or do you ask within and see if any of our current employees want to move up to do some of more of it? And then we look at another employee, or first employee.
Yeah. I don't know.
One of them want to take the distribution or sewer set itself. So that once it's that, if we're gonna run that other water plant, that's gonna take on.
And some of the reporting and those types of things. If somebody wants, that's my suggestion, see if that, and then we can
Okay.
put up again.
So do both of those have us open it back up, have him also ask for, okay. Okay.
Or do we want to open it up till we're opening up and it's going online and we're spending all this money getting these out-of-state applicants? Is it worth it? None of them are willing to relocate? That's a lot of money we put out there for people that don't want to come anyways.
I mean, you could put in there too, must be willing to relocate.
Right.
Relocation assistance.
And maybe it's one of those things where the job description is different compared to what we did post, because we were looking for a very high-level supervisor is what we were looking for. Just because there's enough projects that are gonna be happening that require that skill if the positions are combined. So is that something that you guys wanna change? Do you wanna do like what Zach suggested, have somebody just do distribution and sewer? What kind of direction do you wanna go?
I think you could open it up as several options, like this, or this, or this, whichever one we can find.
Would you want the pay to stay kind of the same? Within
I
that.
think it would depend on, no, not,
So then change it to depending on
depending on
experience?
experience or what position you're gonna go into.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just my thoughts.
No, I like that too.
Anybody else okay with that?
Okay, the other thing is, JR and myself, Casey and Levi met with, Charlie, a member of the county, and the airport, to go over kind of the taxation. Seemed like we, really didn't know how the airport has ran and it sustains. So after our conversations, why the possessory tax sounded new was because the hangars are actually, a majority of them are already owned. So the ones that are owned, they're already paying the taxes. So they wanted an updated roster of all of the hangars out there, and then what ones were being rented, which ones were owned, so that the county could bill out that possessory tax. I think it comes out, they're thinking maybe around $40 extra a month. The airport had requested that this take place in 2026, and that's not up to the city, that's up to the county. So I had let the airport know that they do have to take it to the county to ask for that, to help push that back so the airport can plan to generate enough to sustain keeping the hangars at the price that they're at now. So the price that they're at now is $235. The hangars around our areas are way below that. Grand Forks is even lower. So what they are afraid of is that if they put on a tax on top of that, that they'll pull out of these hangars and go to the ones that are much lower in cost. Because we are higher than some of the other airports, especially like the Grand Forks airport. So at the end of the discussion, the airport does have, where they were approved for the next 3 years for grant funding to build more hangars. Because of this taxation, they are now not sure if they're going to pull back and not build more hangars. So they are going to see if they can sustain off of what they have now and pay for a portion of that tax. So that's kind of where we're sitting with it right now. According to the sheet, there's about 28 hangars. Some are used for equipment, some are rented out. Some of them are actually just rented day by day. So the county is going to work with the airport on what that tax would even look like, because obviously you have one person putting a plane in there. It's hard to tax one day. And all that information is off to them now. That's kind of the story behind like the possessory tax. So it's, if you have an entity that rents out to a taxable entity, it will be taxed because it's rented. If it's if it's a tax exempt entity, a nonprofit, then you don't charge the tax for renting it out. And that's how that possessory tax works. So that's kind of what the meeting was about. I don't know if I missed any pieces. I don't think I did, but okay. So if there's any questions, feel free to ask, but that is where we're sitting with that one. And then the water, Zach, I'll have you talk about that one with the pipe detectives. Yeah.
They're making progress is slow. They're spending a lot of time cleaning, really with the cameras, a lot of the reading pipes. So they're about halfway done. I think they thought they'd take 3-4 weeks, so they're on before now, about halfway done. With that, they call it, it's extra heavy cleaning costs, they call it. So they do so many poles with their getter. And then send the cameras through, if they need to pay more, then it's additional an hour clean on top of that. We're about 50% done, right now we're at about 10,000 extra for heavy cleaning costs. That's kind of where we're at. The rest of the town could be better, worse, the same, we don't know until.
What areas are you finding that are working?
It's the bigger pipes, the smaller 8-inch, 10-inch are okay, it's getting the bigger pipes. It's a lot of sand, a lot of pieces of pipe that have broken off, drips and concrete. I was talking to Steve today, and his comment is, yeah, it's more money, but it's not that we wanted to find it, but it's what we're looking for. It's the bad areas, the tough pipe that needs to look for. That's what they're finding.
But that tells us where we need to replace some of the pipe.
Yeah.
Ask you guys if certainly, I think the bid was 110. How much we want to budget from that? We want to do the whole thing. We can keep a pretty close eye on it, I think, week by week. And then if there's a certain dollar amount, we want to stop, or have them do the whole thing, then we have it. So we're ready to do a street project, or what we want to do.
I think we really need to know.
Well,
Unfortunately, it's gonna cost us, I mean, if you think about it, 10,000 now extra will save us, could save us hundreds of thousands in the end.
And it's 10 now, it's going to go up. It's going to happen.
yeah, so,
Maybe 20, it's like one more.
yeah.
The other comment is what I was talking to the guy today, if the weather turns cold, they'll probably pull out, so they'll get as much done as we can. They might have to finish up in spring. If it gets too cold, they can't. Yeah, they're fine. So then they'll go as long as they can.
Any questions on that one?
I assume some of this is what we haven't vetted before, or
It has been.
4 years.
The thing with Jetway is they jet it quarter every year. They're running the jetter up 2 times until what's visibly in the manholes somewhat clear. Where these guys are jetting and running camera and seeing more. They're seeing everything on the site. The previous maintenance is just visually kind of, you're seeing what's the water coming out and stuff.
We're seeing that there's flow before, now we're getting.
No, we're visually seeing the pipes.
So with this process, I'm hoping that they'll kind of leave the maintenance a little bit easier too, for that way, and, because now the pipes will be cleaned out.
We shouldn't have 30,000 for next year for jet fuel, so. So I would say spend up to that, at least.
So,
It's no
yeah,
real
it's
expense.
chunks of clay tile and refining cracks and pipe and stuff. So we have stuff to work on.
So-
Over there and taking them trunks out.
Are they?
Somebody crawling in there and taking them trunks out.
Yeah, they're sucking them off. There's a big pile of them.
How big can they take them?
It depends on the nozzle like this, it's bigger, it just sucks up to it, so I lift it out and pull it off. There's a big
Quite a
piece.
vacuum. Quite a vacuum.
I suppose this would also tell if we need to replace pipe or if we can reline it or so.
I'm hoping, I was talking to Steve about relining today, he's not real familiar with it, that's all I'm trying to this is
Oh,
digging it in place.
How about the company that does it? Do they have any experience with it? Or not doing it, but just know
This
all the
com-
results of it?
This company that's doing the work, I haven't talked to them about it. I know they do, on the side of their truck, it said something about repair, like do small work. And, there's several
Interesting.
companies, even part of it, that do the lining. There's hope.
I think some cities, not far, just did a whole.
Fargo does a ton of it.
really?
You know, we're looking at a street project, so I guess tearing up, replacing
Yeah.
the pipe isn't as big a deal. Still disturb the ground and it's settling and all that stuff, but if you have decent streets, which is bad piping or anything, the line really makes sense. They'll look at what it can suit in the bad areas and how bad.
I move that we need motion.
You can't, yeah.
I can move that we'll spend up to $30,000 then.
On top of it.
Yep.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved by Paul, second by John. Any other discussion? Nicole?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Yes.
Anything else?
Oh, no, I think that's everything. Yep.
Okay. Jason?
Only thing I have is the fire department obviously went to the two big elevator fires here in the last couple of weeks, so they've been busy. Everybody made it safe, so that's the big thing.
Anything else?
Nope.
Paul?
On the electrical side, of course, we're still waiting on a substation. If we're gonna be able to get that over there. I've been kind of working on with Roy a little bit on some budget items, getting them narrowed down a little bit better and things. Working with him, that's not really his, you didn't hire him for that necessarily, so it's a learning curve for him on that. And I appreciate that he's taking the time to do that. Of course, we have our HEDC meeting on Monday at 5:30, next Monday. And it's moved over to the Trail County Water Resource, whatever they call that building, the old LLP building, right down the street here. Okay, and then we got strategic planning. It looks like most of them are, that I've talked to, the first option is the best for the strategic planning. So we'll probably go ahead and I'll let her know on that. And we'll go with those dates. And if you look at that at all, it talks about community stakeholders and of course city staff and council. So if anybody knows of somebody that's a city, that they feel would be important to be there, young or old, please let me know. It could have a lot of, it could help with the input on the study there. So please keep that in mind and just text me or whatever if you think of a name that somebody, and that doesn't matter if it's you city guys or office here or commissioners. Let us know if there's somebody you think should be there that we don't want to miss from that standpoint. That will be held at the community center December 16th and December 17th. The first day will start at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and go till 7:30. And the second day starts at 8 a.m. and goes till 1. So, I guess that's all that I have. So, not a lot of duplication.
Paul, too?
Yep.
So I don't know if it's EDC's or the city, but there is like the vibrancy grant from the Commerce Department. I've been kind of looking into some of those things, but there is, if you go out and look up the vibrancy grant, there's, we might have some potential there, also with the rural catalyst, but the vibrancy, I was thinking beautification there, Paul, with like Railroad Park or things like that. It's things that you can do in your community to make it vibrant or activity-wise, but I just don't know who, like what entity would look at that part. So probably something to maybe look at and talk over on what, some ideas.
I know I don't have the skill set to do it, but if somebody's willing to do it, or we can find somebody to do it, that's,
I mean, if we can come up with the project to do or whatever it may be, then I might be able to find somebody. Sweet talk somebody into it.
yeah, there
I
might
don't
be some
grant
ideas
rates,
going on the road, but I guess we gotta, first things first, get our first job done.
Yeah, yeah,
Before we start looking at anything else, so
yeah,
I appreciate that.
yeah.
You're looking at that stuff, so I wish I was better up on that stuff, so.
I always got my eye on the prize.
I don't know if there's anybody in town, I'm curious if there's anybody in town that does that kind of grant writing that would be willing to, we could maybe hire to do some of that for us. It might do it out of the kindness of their hearts because they live in the city of Hillsboro, wanted to see it get better, and do it, at least help guide us to do it or something, so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, just some
Everybody's time is
some
valuable.
food for thought for you guys to think about
Yeah.
as you go around the community, what you would think
Yeah.
would be good.
When we're talking to people, say, hey, by the way, I noticed you're good at this. Would you be interested? Start that conversation. You never know what you might run into.
That's all I got. Planning and zoning was moving forward on a lot of things. Seems to go that our new zoning inspectors are doing really well. And the process seems to go okay for that. Casey told me that we're close to finishing up our audit.
Has it been going much better now that it's year after year after year? Or because of the change to Tyler Tech might have?
You know, that'll hit next year
Okay.
for the 25 audit. 24s, there were some road bumps, not anything bad, but just kind of head scratcher moments.
Gotcha.
That we had to do a lot of investigation into, so,
And
yeah.
25, it'll be all hers and she knows it'll announce what it'll look like.
Yeah, and we have a monthly to-do list and everything is getting done on that, so. And
Nice.
that would have been a huge thing to be using in 2012. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay,
Yep,
good.
yep.
So yeah, that's getting close. Then, on, speaking of the road catalyst grant, I need to know if you guys have any ideas or would like to go towards that. So it can be used for strengthening rural communities, addressing curriculum needs, economic development, health, wellness, or preserving local stores. Support quality of life such as bringing access to healthcare, essential services, education, housing, or transportation. Encourage partnerships, collaboration with local organizations, businesses, and government entities. Support innovative approach to address unique challenges faced in rural areas and foster community development and revitalization efforts.
they have the last day to submit is January 7th.
So the one thing that I kind of thought that might work for us to help revitalize and do some things is to create just a one and done, buy a property that is dilapidated, but buy it, take those funds that are, we regenerate from it and keep buying, and so it's kind of a more of a self-sustaining fund. There's some aspect of it.
Like revolving?
Kind of like a revolving, where Jair's houses, mom's houses, dilapidated, didn't want to do anything with it. We can buy it for pennies on the dollar and say, "Oh, we'll do this." And the city would tear it down, sell it back as maybe a low interest loan where they build it in X amount of years. There's a lot of details to work out, but and then it's paid back into that fund so that you can still keep using it to do the same type of things. Just one thought, but it's up to you guys whether or not we would like to apply for it. It's something that we think we should work on. If not, not gonna spend time on it, but it can be used. One of the criteria does say stone by removal, but there are stipulations you have to have it owned before you start doing it, so that's hard for us. Community health and wellness project, expansion of new business project to address critical needs. Preserving and opening the grocery store, library space, museum, recreation related to transportation. The other thing I thought is maybe we could get some type of building as a catalyst for new business to come in, kind of like what Paul was trying to do.
I definitely don't want to see it go to waste. Because I think we have many unique challenges to address.
We do, so would you like us to keep looking at it? And we'll, are you willing to put money into it if we can?
Where are we gonna come up with that money?
So it's not a, you spend 500,000, they give you 500,000, we have to spend 500,000, and then
It's a 50%.
the 500,000 will give them.
It's a match. One for one non-state funded match. But it can be in-kind donation as well. But nothing can be done before, so.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, to Jason's question, you know, where would that 500,000, or up to, I should say, 500,000 come from?
Well, I think if we figured out something, that would be something that I would perhaps possibly GDC and others, this is something that they want to buy into to help them. But
If it's a revolving, though, that's,
I just don't want to see, I don't want to put effort into it and then you say, no, we don't want to do this.
I'm just curious where we would come up with the money with all the other projects we got rolling.
It's not, it has to be completed by June 30th, 2027, so it won't have to come on the next year's budget. 2027 budget. Which it could, that come out of possibly sales tax. All of it. But I'm just,
I'll have to put some thought into it, but, I mean, if it was something that was spent, then turned to revolving, I might
well, that's
be
my
more
thought.
interested in
Instead of
that,
putting money into something and then it just,
to get your money back.
you know, there was a few years ago, we had a bit, there was the Hillsboro all group that redid some of the buildings down there.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they were, but it's been a while.
But they, as took it, rebuilt it, got it back in, we got enough mineral and all of that, but then that was kind of the end of it, so is there a way to help things going again?
Do you happen to know if this was something that Watford City used for their downtown, or,
This is brand new.
okay. So
Might
they
be
must
too
have-
big of a city too.
I think Watford City just used oil.
Oil funds to redo their downtown?
Is there anybody against us looking into it and figuring out, nothing would be spent or done until you guys approve it, I just want to know.
I think it's worth looking into. I've kind of seen it advertised across many platforms lately, so it's a pretty big thing right now. And we don't know what the project would be or how much yet, so.
No, that's the, we gotta figure that out.
So it's not a
We have a lot of
commitment.
challenges though, so
Yeah.
it fit any one of those criteria. Okay, well, I'll keep looking. And working on that. Okay.
If there's anything you guys can think of too.
Would like even the electrical qualify for them? No. 'Cause I was thinking if there were businesses that we didn't have the electricity for before.
No, so is it the same as your
Infrastructure.
infrastructure?
Yeah, I'm curious on the encourage partnerships and collaboration between local organizations, businesses, and government entities. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what the partnership and collaboration looks like for something like that, what their definition of would be for that.
It could be just throwing out, let's say we bought a building downtown
Mhm.
that was used to bring in new businesses. The HBA could be part of that to help drive in new business, or we can use it for local organizations to have their meetings and whatever
Yeah.
else.
Okay.
It's just working together. I think the biggest thing is whatever it is, it needs to be self-sustainable, so,
Right.
you know, yeah, we can go buy a bus with this and have for people, and force the park out, because that's our biggest need of getting workers in. But if, once the funding's done and it's not gonna work, well, what's the point of doing it?
Right. You want something to self-sustain and generate?
Yeah. Somebody has any ideas, let me know.
I have to hit up some other cities and ask. Make some phone
So
calls.
they're flying for it.
What you doing? What you doing? I'm
Yeah,
stealing your idea.
Yeah.
We've already applied yesterday.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything from, I assume you don't have anything else?
No,
Is that-
I'm
JR, do you have anything?
Nothing for me.
Casey?
I can't think of anything.
All right.
Yeah, no.
Anything else from the sheriff's office?
Nope.
We have no new business, the old business. Has the employees had a chance to look at the paper?
We all hung out on Wednesday last week and went through it.
And
There were a few suggestions, little bit from everybody. I'm gonna pull it up over here. I gave a quick synopsis, or a quick rundown of it in the email that I sent. There was suggestion, on the employee, page 20 or 21, with the, clothing allowance. City Hall is requesting to put in for one logo shirt a year. We thought it would just be nice to have some representation at, like MRES events and League of Cities events. Or, yeah, North Dakota League of Cities events. And we saw that there were a few other cities that have it in their policy, so we thought, well, it can't hurt to ask, so we put it in. The other suggestions were with Public Works, we put in, for consideration, beanies, gloves, typical winter wear, just because that's not in there. I just have to get to the page. There was also, discussions and requests to, reinstate, certificate awarding, and increasing, having paid, increase in pay for certificates. There's a few cities that I knew of, just because it was actually a topic not that long ago in the city auditor listserv. So I just put down what I had seen. So we'll get to that, but yeah, here's what was requested. Gloves, a sweatshirt, one per year for Public Works, and a beanie hat. City Hall staff, one logo shirt per year. And then we took out all of the prices with the exception of the bathing suits for the lifeguards. And we increased the request of, fire-resistant clothing from 2 to 5. Roy said he probably won't ever utilize purchasing 5 pairs of each, but he already has a pretty good stack of fire-resistant clothing. So this would be intended for those who are coming in kind of new to the electrical department. So, and Brian himself doesn't have a whole lot of fire-resistant clothing because it is expensive. And then we had a little discussion of, would fire-resistant qualify as personal protective equipment, PPE? In that line of work, yeah, it might. I think we thought there was a decent argument for that, I guess, so.
I'd rather see it be by 5 the first year and then 2 every year after instead of say 5 every year.
Do that.
Or 5 for new hires.
2 every year after.
I think if we're paying for all of this, maybe we should look at, it gets to be this much more loads of stuff. I mean, for,
Have logos on the items.
run up through the office that says who's their items that you can choose from their stores up and all that you can have several different choices.
And has anyone checked with Mary in town here from CCCO?
I haven't, no.
I think she does, branded.
Yeah. The one thing with the electrical, they did say they didn't mind branded, but it would have to be fire resistant, threading.
Yeah.
So, that'd be great.
I like,
Does she do embroidery?
huh?
Does she do embroidery or does she stamp it?
You know, I think she does the screen printing, but I don't think I've seen any embroidery yet, but that doesn't mean, no, but I've seen her with everything else. But I do like the logo idea, especially for meetings.
Yeah. And we've purchased a few shirts on our own, you know, just because I like being represented, but, you know, sometimes, you know, I don't know that my other staff would maybe do that, and I like them to go to some meetings, so.
Yeah.
You know, we need to go around and think about it, because you guys are still working on finding out some more information on the certificates, and then you guys are working on the others. Just wanted to give you an update on it. Any other thoughts on the handbook, those from the employees?
I'm just trying to think of how many sets of clothes and all that they would make sense.
Well, when we had spend up to, didn't we? We had, the last time we talked about,
So, Sanford Ambulance, they pay your PRN employee, you get one shirt, one t-shirt, and you have to have one dress shirt. And you get pants and boots every other year, and jackets as needed. Belts, all those things are as needed. A full-time employee gets 2 or 3 pairs of pants. Same with the shirts, t-shirts or polos, and plus their dress shirts. A little different schedule where they work usually 2 days on and 2 days off. Even though they do often that. I just think if we're gonna start paying more and more, we should be making sure that it's representative of the city stuff. I guess in case we need to take the chair or something.
Yep, all of our stuff is specifically picked out. And I'm not against that because that, if we're doing that, we have several options. We can look at it and say this is reasonable, this is too much.
And that's where. If you say new hires get maybe 1 or 2 more to get started, and then the rest. I'll let you guys think about that and
I
go
mean,
back to it.
could we make it as simple as needed? You know, if somebody's clothes are worn out and they bring it in and say, hey, here's what my stuff looks like, I could use a couple more pairs, could we just do it on that as needed basis?
Good idea. Some as needed won't ever replace because they really like it, so it's really good to go.
But the same thing, if you buy them 2 every year, they're still gonna break.
I think we can find a happy medium. That's kind of what I said, where maybe we take it and change it to if employees will be provided clothing as needed for their position.
This is just one of the websites that, we've gotten logos done at a spot in Fargo, and I was gonna show you, like, everything that they kind of carry on one of their websites. They go through 2 main people, so they've got quite a bit to choose from. Yeah, all of the fun brands, like I know we've gotten hats for the guys, Richardson's, right? Yeah, they've got Richardson's. They carry Carhartt, they carry Gildan, they carry just about everything, so. Yeah, and as long as you order the clothing through these guys, the embroidery, is only $8 for the standard size logo, that's about that big. So it's not too bad for embroidery if you guys want that. Yeah. Or if Mary has the option to do embroidery, we can check that too.
Well, let's talk about this again next meeting. We want to come up with some ideas and see, Zach, if you want to bring them back to them and see if they think that would work. So Keith, you see what the rest of them say, or Paul, on your Monday morning meetings.
Just have clothing as needed, that type of a,
Yeah. Just a thought. one person.
You need a whole new wardrobe.
That's,
I was just gonna say that we need somebody that says, hey, Zach, I think you've got your money out of that one. You need to get something new. You can save those for when you're down in the dirt hole. For the money situation, then that's when you bring out the old stuff.
Stuff scheduled.
Or you just throw it in the back of the truck.
reminder, for winter parking, make sure you have vehicles off the streets during large snowfall events. And between 2:30 and 6 a.m. Sidewalks, remember to keep those areas downtown clean. We are closed for the Thanksgiving holiday on the 27th and 28th. And we will be meeting again on the 1st. Is anybody else have anything for the good of the order? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second?
Properly moved and seconded by Nicole and John. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those